Have you ever wondered why some stories or ideas are so memorable and others people forget it seconds after they hear it? Right? Or you've got stories or facts that end up being false and yet they spread like wildfire and people actually believe them. Right? It's like a Halloween candy. My guess is your parents, like mine, they inspected all of our Halloween candy because there are reports that strangers were potentially poisoning Halloween candy. Well, you know what's interesting is that's not true. They've done research on this, and since 1958, that's how far back they went, since 1958, they have found that there have been no true cases of strangers tampering with children's Halloween candy. And yet, millions of people believe that, and they still believe that to this day. Well, the brothers Chip and Dan Heath, they explore this in their book Made to Stick, Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die. And what they found out is that most sticky ideas have kind of 6 things in common. In fact, they use the acronym SUCCESS. Those ideas, they're simple, unexpected, concrete, credentialed, emotional, and typically use a story. Now, I'm going to tell you, I thought this book would be mainly for marketers, but man, I was wrong. In fact, this book has really benefited me as someone who speaks in public. I do a lot of training and workshops. In fact, I did a webinar the other week, and I use points from this book so that some of my points in my webinar would be more memorable for my audience. I think this book is great, by the way, if you're a leader and you're needing to communicate to your team a concept that you want them to remember. But you can also use this book if you're a parent and you're wanting to communicate to your kids some piece of information that you want them to retain. I mean, the principles can be used in almost any context. Here are a few quotes that I really liked from the book, okay? So one of the things they talk about is the curse of knowledge. And they say once we know something, we find it hard to imagine what it was like not to know it. Our knowledge has cursed us, and it becomes difficult for us to share our knowledge with others because we can't readily recreate our listener's state of mind. Another quote, simple messages are like a proverb, short sentences drawn from long experiences. Common sense is the enemy of sticky messages. When messages sound like common sense, they float gently in one ear and out the other. The goal of making messages emotional is to make people care. Feelings inspire people to act. And then finally, I love this quote. Stories inspire. Inspiration drives action. So I'll tell you, I highly recommend you reading this book, Made to Stick. Now, here's our game plan. I want you to think through the last idea or piece of information that you most recently communicated, whether that's professionally to your team or maybe personally to a friend or to your family. Did the idea stick? Did people remember it? If they didn't, okay, I want you to evaluate the way you communicated that through the acronym SUCCESS. What do you need to do differently next time so that more people will remember that idea or piece of information that you want to communicate? As for our tweetable lesson, let me remind you about the acronym SUCCESS. Sticky messages are simple, unexpected, concrete, credentialed, emotional, and use a story.